This song's called Wishing Well. When you're wishing well, runs dry, and all else seems to fail in your life. I'll be watching you while you sleep to show surprises left in me. And I know it's vacant where we're laying, but don't you go away escaping all that telling you just too so weary. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. So you wish in an empty home just to prove what side you're on, but a kiss will save complete to lift this burden this away from me. And I know we're playing with words we're saying, but don't you go away escaping all that telling you just to show. And hold fast, steady your sinking wishes. 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 I know it's vacant where we're laying, but don't you go away escaping all that telling you just to show.
This tutorial is brought to you by Stream Studio and also by RunPod. Go to runpod.everlyheights.tv to spin up a stable diffusion server in just a couple of minutes. Hey dreamers, it's Bill Meeks here for Building Dreams, where I help you use the latest AI technology to build dreams of your own, just like I'm building my Everly Heights pilot called Very Special. Sorry, I'm trying not to use the teleprompter today, but it's live, so you're going to expect that. I do see Deborah Kerr over there in the chat room. How you doing, Deborah? Today, I'm kind of all stuttery. You know what? I'm going to bring it down relax it a little bit. It's been a while since I've been live. I've been doing a lot of pre-produced stuff for Building Dreams in Everly Heights. So it's kind of interesting being live in front of you. So bear with me. I'm going to be stumbly probably. I'm a little out of practice, but we'll make it happen. Today, what we're going to be doing is I'm using my Everly Heights set generator that I built a couple weeks back on Building Dreams to generate some sets for Very Special. Today, the focus is on exterior or establishing shots for some of the key locations in Very Special. We're going to be doing 3 different ones today. We're going to be doing the special house, their home, because, you know, it's the family is Michael Special, Zara Special, Ricky Special, whole bunch of specials. And then we're going to be doing the Everly Heights community building where a key scene in Act 2 takes place. And then we're going to be doing the Everly Heights High School exterior, which is where the big dance at the end of the episode and all the crazy stuff happens there at the Everly Heights High School gymnasium. So we're going to be generating, like I said, 3 different sets today. And I'm going to try and build out at least 2 options for each one. And then if you want to, if you go over to everlyheights.tv, there is a link to our Everly Heights Discord. I'm going to be posting the couple options for each of the 3 sets we're building today over there and letting you guys vote. So, you know, try and democratize the creative process. You know what I mean? It's really weird, I will say, looking at the camera, because a lot of times for tutorials, I'm either looking at the camera, which is where my teleprompter is, or I'm looking at the computer screen, because, you know, that's what I'm working on. So, you know, bear with me. It's still a little, it's going to be a little loosey-goosey today, but that's kind of the point of live streaming, right? I also don't have any... Of course, my first live stream, like the power flickered. I don't know if people can hear me or not, but the power flickered. Of course, my first live stream, like the power flickered. I don't know if people can hear me. Okay, I think we're back now. Perfect. All right, cool. If you can verify, Deborah Kerr in the chat room, that you can see me now, that'd be great. And then we'll continue. Again, for once, it wasn't my computer crapping out, it was the power flickering, which is a lot of fun. Okay, well, I'm recording this, so I'm going to go ahead and move forward, assuming I'm streaming. Actually, you know what? I'll check on my phone real quick. This will be, like, I really hope that, you know, I've always had issues with editing live videos for stuff, but hold on, I'm just checking to see if we're actually live. I hope we're live. You know what? I can go to the YouTube page real quick and check. Bear with me, folks. Technical difficulties, as you do. As you do. I do appear to be connected, but I just want to make sure that my video is still coming over live. No, I want to go to my channel and then go to live. Oh, it says I'm live. Bear with me, folks. Technical difficulties. All right, we're good. I just verified that we're live again. So, okay. Where was I? All right, so we're going to be doing 3 sets today. The Special's house, the Special family, Very Special. They're the main characters. We're going to be doing that one. We're going to be doing Everly Heights community building, which is where the Arts Council meets, which is another major thing both in Very Special and in Everly Heights. And then we're going to be doing Everly Heights High School. So I'm going to try and build at least 2 options for each set using Stable Diffusion and Photoshop. And now, after the stream ends, I'm going to post the options over to the Everly Heights Discord server for you folks to vote on. Now, if you're not on the Discord server, it has been sort of an exclusive. You sign up for the mailing list, I send you a private link. No longer. If you go to everlyheights.tv, I have a button on there that says join the Discord, and you can go ahead and hop in the Discord now if you'd like to. And like I said, after the stream's over today, we're going to be just making sure I was unmuted. After the stream today, I'm going to be posting the options over there for you guys to vote on. And so you'll help figure out what Everly Heights is going to look like a little bit. Now, what we're doing today isn't going to completely have production ready artwork. I'm planning on touching some of it up myself. And then hopefully I do have a graphic designer slash artist named Tom Gerke who's helped me out on a lot of other projects through the years, like The Fakest, for example, who I'm hoping to bring on the stream to kind of, you know, show you guys how to touch up AI artwork to make it production ready, you know, for an animated series. So again, we're going to be doing 3 sets today. Going to do 2 options for each of them. After the stream's over, if you go over to the Discord by clicking on the button at everlyheights.tv, you'll be able to vote on which one we go with for the final show. So that's fun. All right. Man, I love, you know, it's been a long time since I've live streamed. And, you know, the first time I do, the power flickers here. I was really worried leading up into the live stream because there was like, one of those Caterpillar construction pieces of equipment doing some work to the apartment building next door, which I guess is kind of appropriate considering we're doing a lot of construction ourselves today. All right, so first off, we're going to be working on the specials house. So let me go ahead and switch over here to my Stable Diffusion screen. Now, if you don't know Stable Diffusion is an AI art generator that basically it kind of learns the rules of different pieces of artwork and then uses those rules to make new artwork based on your text prompt. Now, I have trained a model very specifically for Everly Heights that started as TV sets, you know, TV set design, you know, from stuff like All in the Family, Full House, Family Matters. And then I made a model with that. And then I made a bunch of different images with that, refined them, edited them in Photoshop, and then made the final model based on that original data set. So we will be using the Everly Heights set generator today to do all this stuff. Now, before I get started, we're going to come over here to the Image to Image tab. And we want to make sure that the width is set here to 728. Because that's the model was trained on images that were 728 by 512. So we want to kind of respect that. And it's roughly a 16 by 9 format, which will be great, you know, obviously for editing a 16 by 9 video or, well, cartoon. But, you know, I'll publish it on video, I suppose. Okay, so like I said, let me go ahead and pull something up here. All right, let me go into my exteriors folder here, work folders. Drag this over here so you don't see all my confidential folders. All right, here we go. So this is the setup here. So we're going to start with the special house. Now, as I mentioned in the Welcome to Everly Heights live stream, Everly Heights is very much based on the town I grew up in, Wheeling, West Virginia, a really small town in the West Virginia hills. Well, I mean, you know, for West Virginia, it's not the smallest town in the world, but compared to any moderate-sized city in any other state, it's a pretty small town. I think when I lived there, they had about 30,000 people who lived there, maybe 35. I can't remember off the top of my head, but again, it was pretty small. Like I think our high school, which served the entire county, you know, several towns, was only about 2,000 kids, if that gives you any sense of scale here. But anyway, so we're going to be doing the specials house. And so I thought, why don't I go and I'll pull a couple pictures from homes that I feel like the specials could live in Wheeling, you know, actual photographs. And sometimes these reference images will have a special meaning to me, but I won't get into that here. And then we'll take those and we'll try and build out our data sets with those. So let's see here. Oh, no, here we go. All right. So first up, we're going to go with, this is a house I lived in an area of Wheeling called Warwood. It's on North 19th Street. I don't think I need to worry about giving away the farm here because, you know, I haven't lived there for years and I wasn't of you know, age to where I would have like credit accounts and stuff attached to this address. But so it's North 19th Street. I won't tell you the exact address, but this is my old house. This is where I lived from the time I was about probably 12 to 14, somewhere in there. I had a lot of crazy adventures here that we'll save for another day. Hold on, I'm just going to make sure I set the image size up right. 768 by 512, right? Oh, 728. 768 by 512. Oh, hold on. 768 by 512. There we go. All right, and just to give you an idea here, you know, I'm loading this up in the image to image tab, which means that Stable Diffusion is going to take this image and use it sort of as inspiration for the image it generates. Here, I don't have a prompt filled in. I don't have a negative prompt filled in. I'm just going to show you just, you know, naked through the renderer what happens when I hit the generate button. And hopefully my stream won't crash out. If I start going herky-jerky, it's because Stable Diffusion takes up a bit of energy. See, in here, it's a very different picture, right? Very different picture. But again, it's just using this as sort of a starting point. You can get it a little closer to the original by bringing down this denoising strength, which is how much it's going to change the image based on your input. So if we bring the denoising down to 0.3 and then click generate on that and wait, because we have to wait, you'll see it hues much closer to the original image here, right? So, and that's without any prompting at all. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and add a prompt, turn that denoising back up a little bit. Yeah, we'll turn it up to about actually, we'll do like a 0.4. Because again, by adjusting the denoising strength, you can sort of layer on the style of whatever you're doing. In this case, I'm layering on the style of my custom Everly Height set generator model. So we have that there. And what I'm also going to do is I'm going to engage something down here called ControlNet. Now, if you don't know what ControlNet is a plugin for Stable Diffusion that allows you to have a lot more artistic control over the images that come out. You can do, you can load line art into it. You can load images and create depth maps. You can, you know, load an image in and have it make variations of that image in different styles, all sorts of stuff. But for the sake of argument here today, we're just going to be loading in my old house in Warwood. Sometimes it pops in weird like this to where it's like all super cropped in. Let's try that one more time. There we go, and now it has the whole image. So what we do here is we'll go ahead and enable it. And then generally, especially for like scenery and stuff like this, it's a good idea to sort of, you know, start with a depth map, because that'll tell Stable Diffusion, you know, where all the objects are in the picture and how close or far away from the camera and from each other it is. If you want to see a depth map, I'll generate one right now. Takes a minute. Man, that bums me out about the power flashing because I spent like all morning getting this stream set up. So it'll go off without a hitch. And obviously there was a hitch. Okay, here's our depth map. And you'll see here it automatically loads it in as a reference there. I will say that I just discovered, here's a pro tip for you for ControlNet, is that I've always, as a habit, loaded the image I want to use here, even if I'm using the same image in image to image. Turns out, if you have an image in image to image and you don't select an image and you don't put an image into ControlNet, then it'll just use your image to image, which is great. And I'm going to try and remember to do that moving forward because I'm so used to this workflow. It's a little crazy. Okay, but you see we have our depth map there. And we'll go ahead and generate one with the depth map. And you know, it had a really nice look to it already. Actually, you know what? I'm going to interrupt and skip this. We're just going to not do this one because I realized I have it down on pretty low denoising strength. I'm going to turn it up. Here we go, to high denoising to like a 0.8. So like it's going to change 80% of the image. And because we have our depth map loaded in here, it should still resemble the image at least a lot more than that first generation we did. So let's give it a second here to think on it. Ooh, I should probably get my my console loaded up here too, just in case. And you'll see that hue's a lot closer to the original image, right, than our first generation. You know, there's the house, there's the tree over there. Looks pretty good. So let's see here. So we have the depth map loaded. I'm going to go ahead and remember, this is all without a prompt. You know, this is all just, you know, passing images through and not telling Stable Diffusion what to do at all. So now I'm going to go ahead and create a prompt here. So let's see. We'll do and it's hard to type here. Suburban, I'll fix that spelling mistake in a second. House. Actually, because I think it's the paint's either faded since I lived in this one, or they've painted it over the years, but it was a blue house when I lived in it. So we'll go ahead and use a blue house. Tree in the yard. And you know what, since the first exterior shot of the special house and very special is going to be very early in the morning, we're going to put early morning as our prompt. And a lot of times when you're going through stuff like this, it's a good idea to go ahead and, you know, have a few options to work with, because the results can be as guided as we're trying to make them. They can be pretty random. So I'm going to go ahead and put batch count of 4 here. So it'll generate 4 images for us. And we'll see what comes up. I'm also going to turn down the CFG scale a little bit, just because sometimes it can get a little wiry and abstract if the CFG is too high up on this particular model. So, okay, we're going to generate 4 images. Here we go. Hopefully one of these will be something I want to use. All right, they're generating. All right, so let's see here. Can we get these? Yep, here we go. So let's see here. This first one here, again, it has a little bit of the spindly, wiry stuff, which I could clean up, but why clean it up if it's already less than perfect to start with, right? And then this one here, I really like. The windows are a little weird, sure. The tree is a little obscure, sure, but we can fix all that up. This one down here, the lower left, I don't like the eave here. It got a little too funky and creative with it. And then actually, this one down in the lower right, I think is just about perfect. It has the little hatch to the attic bedroom where my sister had her bedroom. It has windows up here. Yeah, and the tree looks nice. You can see the house in the background really clearly. All right, I think we're going to go with this one. So let's find it here. Okay, so yeah, we're going to go with this one here. Now, there's a couple approaches I can use to work with this more. Either way, it's a really small image, like 512 pixels high. And that's no good for animation. So we're going to need to upscale this one way or the other. Let me go ahead and save this out real quick. Save image as, and then very special exteriors, work folders, the special house. And this is for option 1. So we'll call this option 1. And I'm going to go ahead and copy this folder just to make sure I have it for later. All right, so we have that saved out. Now, again, there are a couple ways we can go about this. We can upscale it using Stable Diffusion itself. Let me find my image here. Yeah, but we can upscale it using Stable Diffusion itself by using ControlNet, actually. So let me go ahead and uncheck the ControlNet down here, because we won't need the depth for this one. And then we're going to go ahead and enable it, and we're going to enable something called tile. which what tile does is it takes your image and it breaks it up into a grid of, I think it's like 15 by 15 or something squares, and then it individually renders all of those out, so you end up with a much larger image. So let's see here. Since we have tile resample going, it should go ahead and pick up the image we have in image to image here. And we're going to want ahead, when you're using tile, you want to turn down the denoising strength, or else it's going to add a bunch of detail. Like, you do want it to add some detail because it's upscaling, and you know, if there's a little gray square, you'd like that to be, I don't know, a bird feeder or something when it finishes rendering out. But by the same token, if you really like the image, you don't want it to change too much. So we're going to go ahead and try and do 0.3 here. And let's see here. Yeah, and again, I shouldn't need to load this up down here because I have it loaded up in image to image. And then an important thing with tile, though, is control net's not the last step. You also need to use this Ultimate SD Upscale plugin. And what this does is this again, you know, takes each individual piece and renders it out, but makes them all cohesive, so they all look and work well together. So we'll change this from image to image settings to scale from image size. And we want to use the 4x ultra sharp upscaler for this, because I find that works best. And then we'll just upscale it by a factor. You know what? I'm going to take this from 2 to like 2.4. It'll take a little more longer to render, but it'll give us a lot bigger image to work with. So let's go ahead and generate. Let's make sure, yeah, batch count is at 1. And we're going to generate the upscale. You'll be able to see the upscale going on in this window down here. Basically, you'll see each of the tiles load in individually. It'll layer on detail. And then at the end, it'll patch them all together. And then we'll take that to Photoshop to finish this one up. But now we got to wait about 40 seconds. So Deborah Kerr, if you're still out there watching, how you doing? I see you over in the chat room there. If anyone else is watching, feel free to say hi. Or I'm just going to keep talking, right? All right, now unfortunately, I don't think it's loading up the individual tiles here, which is a really cool process to watch, but it might be because I have like the 4 options already loaded up here. Okay, but here we go. Here's our upscaled image, and you'll notice that the windows are a lot more cohesive. The tree has a lot more detail in the leaves. This house in the background has a lot more detail. It's a really nice image. So we're going to go ahead and save this out. And then this is option 1, upscaled. I'll go ahead and clear out my downloads here so they're not cluttering up the screen. And then we're going to go into Adobe Photoshop. So let's go ahead and bring the image over here into Adobe Photoshop. The upscaled image loaded up right here. And Photoshop just added a ton of a generative AI tools. You know, they basically made it to where, you know, if you want to, you can select whatever you want. You can type in, you can click generative fill. You can type in a prompt or not, and then fill in that area. Now, there are a couple of issues I see with this this image here. For one, I think this window up here, I want the windows to be a little bit more see-through. So I'm going to select that and then type transparent window. And we'll generate that, and it'll just take a second to render out a few different options here. So give it a minute. And see, you have a much more cohesive window there. We have that one, or we have those. As far as the original window in the house, I think this one is a little bit closer to it. So we'll go ahead and select that one. You know what? A good thing to do here too is I'm going to go ahead and save out a Photoshop project so I don't lose all my work if something crashes. And as we've learned already today, something's bound to crash. So we fixed the window. What else do I have a problem with here? Let's see. There's no real door here, no real front door here. So we're gonna try salmon colored front door, just because I think that might look good against the blue. So let's try it here. Now, to be fair, it might generate fish in the door, so we'll see what happens. There's going to be a lot of waiting, folks. I'll try and vamp. Yeah, and that has kind of a salmon color to it, but the other ones are even better. Let's see here. Like, I find a lot of times with the Adobe generative fill, the first option is usually best. It's either the first or the last one. Now, the last one here, it's made like a huge door. It's assuming the door, I think, is going all the way up here, and it's not. So, yeah, I think this one's really good. So we'll go ahead and go with that one. And I'm trying to look at anything else that might need some fixing here. There's some ropey stuff. Hold on, let me zoom in a little bit so you can see. Yeah, there's some weird ropey stuff here in the tree, and it looks like it kind of generated almost a house in the tree too, which I'm not a huge fan of. So we're just going to select this whole bit right here, and then we're going to put a tree with actually, hold on, let me lower this selection down a little bit. We're just going to grab this whole chunk here. And forgive the sounds in back. The apartment building next door is doing some construction. Oh, Deborah Kerr over in the chat room says house needs a mailbox. I'll do that next. Don't let me forget. So actually, you know what? Why don't we give them a tree house? Yeah, so why don't we... No, actually, a tree house might be too confusing. I prefer a rope swing. A rope swing hanging from a tree. So we'll click on generate here. Give it a minute. And hopefully we'll get rid of all these like house pieces in the tree too. That's a little weird. That's a little weird too. Actually, none of them look good. Okay, so we're going to try that again. Let's see here. Is that this one? Yeah. So we'll just go ahead and dump this guy. Let's try this one more time. Zoom out a little bit so we get more of it. And I'm going to go ahead and just cut out the tree here. So, because I like the tree. A tire swing. Let's try a tire swing. Hang from a tree. Ooh. Give it a shot here. And it takes a moment. That's a little obscure. So's that one. So's that one. Sometimes the generative fill does not do as well as Stable Diffusion does in this stuff. So you know what? I'm just going to abandon our tire swing idea for now and just try and fix up this tree a little bit. If I just select all this and then click generative fill and put, let's do part of it. Oh, hold on. Let's do part of a tree. Let's see how that goes. Hopefully one of these will work out. And then Deborah Kerr in the chat room, we're going to get to your mailbox. That's weird. Actually, I like this one because it kind of builds up the tree behind it to be like an even bigger tree. I like that. So we're going to go with that one. All right, now Deborah Kerr in the chat room wanted a mailbox. So where would a mailbox go here? Probably about right there. So let's try a mailbox. And the nice thing is Stable Diffusion has tools like this too. But bringing it into Photoshop, it will match the style of the image you feed it, which I think is really nice and a lot of fun. So waiting. That's like a British mailbox, right? Yeah, these are all sort of like public call boxes. Let's try what would be a good prompt for that? How about mailbox sticking out of the ground house mailbox? Let's try and see if that works. Give it another shot here. Another roll, if you will. I have been enjoying this generative fill in Photoshop, though. I've been doing a lot of like taking movie stills and doing outpainting to build out, you know, the scene around the shot from the movie. It's been a lot of fun. All right, so let's see. Actually, this guy here, I really like this mailbox here because it, I can picture the mailman walking down, opening the door, putting it in. So we're gonna go with that. Now let's see if there's anything else here that I don't like. Let's fill in this tree a little bit here because I think seeing that little bit of the house there is a little distracting. So actually, one nice thing about Photoshop is you don't even have to put in a prompt. If I hit generate here, it's probably just going to fill in the tree based on what's around it, which is fun. So we'll give it a second here. See, and it fills in the tree perfectly. Actually, those two look a little cut off. This one is perfect. Okay, so we're going to go with this one. I'm going to go ahead and export this out here just so I can share it with you guys later. So let me go in here, option one, final. Okay, so that's our first option. We're going to go ahead with option 2 now. So I do have another sample image that I pulled, which is, it's not a house that has a particular affinity for me or connection to me. But this is just kind of the typical house you'll see in the Woodsdale area of Wheeling, which is, I always viewed it as sort of like the upper class, but really it's middle class. But I was lower class, so upper class felt, or middle class felt upper class, and lower class was where I was at. Anyway, so we're going to go ahead and take out the prompt here for a minute. And we're going to turn off our control nets. Let's see here. And I will load that up in here. And yeah, this house is on a road called Edgington Lane in Wheeling, which is known for a lot of things. A lot of my friends lived around Edgington Lane. Also I believe one of the DeCarlo's pizzas in Wheeling, which is a chain you know of if you know the Ohio Valley, was on Edgington Lane too. So, okay, so we have our depth map here. And again, like we did before, we're going to try out a generation with just no prompt at all. So let's see what happens. Oh, where's my denoising strength? Pretty low denoising strength, actually. Can I interrupt and skip this? Hopefully. Give it a minute. It's thinking. Oh, I still had it on the upscale too. That's where I went wrong. Got to remember to turn off the upscale. Now, hopefully I didn't just crash it out. Sometimes with Stable Diffusion, it will completely crap out on you like this. Let's see. Yeah, I don't think it's going to go. So we're just going to go ahead and close it here. And then I'm going to open it back up using my little shell program here. Launch Web UI. It'll take a second. It'll load up a new tab, but then I'll just switch back to this one, and I should be able to use all the settings I already have. See, this is the real stuff. You know, my recorded tutorials, everything, I cut out all this stuff, all this crap that you have to go through to get it to work, because, you know, it's an open source project, which means it's all volunteers working on it, right, for the most part. So you have to give some allowances here. All right, so we should be loaded back in here. So let's try and click generate. It's waiting. Will it go? There we go. See, and that's a really nice house. I really like that. I really like that. And that's with no prompt too. Yeah, I'm actually almost just in love with that as it is, but I guess we should add a prompt of some kind. Yeah, and I'm going to put break of dawn, and I'll select it and then hit Control up to give it a little bit more weight, so it kind of gives me that dawn sky in the background, since the first scene takes place at dawn. And now that we got something we kind of like, let's go ahead and amp up the denoising to like 0.5 just so it changes a lot. And we'll give it a batch count of 4. Oh, you know what else would be a good idea? Oh, hold on. Things can be futzy. We don't want 52 of them. What the heck? Let's do 5. And then we're going to want to go ahead and load up our second image as our depth map down here too. I might have done this already. I did. Okay, so that depth map is good to go. We'll go ahead and enable that. What did I have over here? Oh, this was just for the tile, which we'll do later. All right, so let's go ahead and we have it to 0.5 denoising, which means it's going to change a lot. Or, well, about half as much as it could. So let's see how that goes. Will it go? Where is my... See, it says it's at 4. Okay, there we go. It's moving slowly but surely. Sometimes it takes a second to get going. Why is it going to take 4 minutes? That's an awful long amount of time for this. Ooh, I think I still have a control net on, actually. You got to remember to turn those off. Oh, actually, I do have a control net, but I meant to have that one on. I'm just in the interest of time, I'm going to turn this down to 1 and see what we get. And see, we were getting some good images there, which is lame. But they weren't displaying, so let's try it again with just 1 this time. Yeah, and hopefully if you watch my normal tutorials where everything goes perfectly every time, this will give you an idea of kind of the trial and error you have to go through to get this stuff working. I like that. Could be better. I do like the brick in the original house, so let's go ahead and add brick to our prompt here. Actually, let's get even more specific. Let's add red brick. Okay, we'll give that a shot. Yeah, but this definitely looks like an establishing shot from a sitcom, which is what we're going for. Waiting. Ooh. I really like that. I really like that. We could have generated more options, but I think we're going to go with this one. So why don't we go ahead and... you know what? I was going to show you how to upscale in Photoshop, but I have found it can be a little buggy, and since I'm streaming right now, I don't want to... Oh, that's interesting. Looks like... There we go. Sorry about that, Win. Yeah, apparently you guys weren't seeing anything I was doing, which is a shame. I don't know what happened there, but yeah, here we go. I hope that at least some of it came through instead of it's just me talking. Trial and error. Like I said, it's been a second, but yeah, this is the house, and so we'll go ahead and we'll send this to image. And there it's loaded into image. We don't need the depth map anymore, really. And then we'll come over here And we'll enable this again, and it's all set up for tile. And so we will go to Ultimate SD Upscale. And all of our settings are in here from before, which is good. So now we'll upscale it. Just to give you an idea, this is what it looks like. You know, it's kind of pixely around the edges before the upscale. Oh, let me go ahead and turn down the denoising strength too, so it doesn't change it too much. I generally go between a 0.2 and a 0.3, somewhere in there. So let's go ahead and upscale it. And again, apologies for the technical snafus. I've been freaked out and worried about live streaming this stuff forever, just because it can be so finicky. And live streams, I like to have them nice and polished and produced, but you're getting all of it with this. so deal with it. That's mean. Don't deal with it. Deal with it, folks. Deal with me messing up. No, I should deal with it. I should deal with it by, you know, planning better. But I did my best. It's early days. And make sure I don't have... Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of times this will give you like the individual tiles, so you have something to look at as it's upscaling. It's not doing that for some reason today, which is fine, but it says it's going to take 2 minutes. It's not going to take 2 minutes. It's going to take maybe another 30, 40 seconds. I will say that my episode I did a couple weeks ago about building this model has been very well received. I think it's got almost 13,000, 14,000 views. I've got contacted from various companies doing stuff in the AI space to talk to me about it. So, you know, with all the flubs I have today, it's good to know that at least the model's solid, right? Yeah, I'm going to be, over the next couple weeks, I'm going to be doing my character model, which if you guys were watching, you saw just the grid, the wallpaper in the background. Those were outputs from my first version of my character generator model. And some of them are super weird and trippy because I didn't know the settings very well yet, but it's fun. I like it. All right, we should have our upscale coming in here very soon. And then honestly, I don't know if I'm going to need to fix this one up in Photoshop very much at all. You know what? I'll find something to do with it. I'll try and find one or two other little techniques over there to show it to you. I'm going to save some of the neural filters, the AI filters that Photoshop has until the end, though, because they might make the computer crash. Because you know, they're all some of them use cloud-based processing, some of them use my computer here, so things can get a little finicky. And our upscale is almost done. And see, if you compare this to the original image, you'll see that the brick is redder. There's more detail around the edges and all that stuff. I still don't know what this crap in the yard is for. I think that's like broken rock or something. We'll fix that in Photoshop. So we'll go ahead and copy this over. And where's my Photoshop? All right, we'll load up a new one. And we'll save this as option 2 upscale. All right, now sometimes when I bring images in over here, like Stable Diffusion does a really good job of dealing with the lighting and the balance in an image, but I like Photoshop's like auto tone, auto contrast, auto color. Sometimes I'll just run these as a trio and see how it improves the image. And it just made some very slight adjustments there, but that's kind of the point, right? Is that you know, it's just like little things that make the image feel a bit more real. All right, let's see here. Now back here, this is just a bunch of crap kind of back here. Let's do an alleyway going off in the distance here and see how that looks. Give it a minute. Excuse me, I had to burp. Actually, I really like that. Yeah, I think I like that because that implies another bigger, more awesome house that sits out in front of the Specials house, which is nice because their neighbors, the Simonsons, are very, very, very rich. The Specials are theater folk. So even in Everly Heights, where there's a lot of financial support going to the arts, they're not quite, the computer programmer of the Simonsons next door. So I like this. So we'll go ahead and keep that. And is there anything else I want to do? Okay, I want to change this tree here because it looks kind of crappy, right? So we'll put a tree in the yard. And again, all of this is really just getting these images to the point where I'm happy enough to start doing like fine detailing on them. There's a lot you can do. There's a lot of cleaning up you can do, a lot of like cutting, and I'll need to cut out stuff too, because sometimes these are going to need to be in 3 dimensions, right? So, if that tree's there, we want to have sort of like a parallax effect of that in the animation if we're doing like a panning shot. So I might need to pull some of that stuff out. So see, that's a nice tree. It feels a little like golf coursey. That one's a bit more like the original tree, but it's on cement for some reason. Why would you plant the tree in cement? That one's nice, but it's back behind the house. I do kind of like just having the bucket laying there. So what if we keep this guy, which is actually in the neighbor's yard, but then we add something to complement the bucket? Like, why don't we let me grab my geometric selection tool here. And why don't we put they have a sandbox just in the front yard just because, for Abby to play in, the kid. Make sure I have my original layer selected. And then we'll click generate. Oh, Activated Dynamics over in the chat room said, have you tried the multi-diffusion extension yet? It has upscaling options and regional prompting built in. No, I haven't. I've actually, as far as the regional prompting, I really like the look of Comfy UI, which is sort of a node-based editor. But again, I haven't really dug into it that much. That's a really great suggestion, though. I might try that. So is that just a plugin for for Auto 111111? Or is it a separate program, like a separate Comfy UI? But okay, so that sandbox looks like crap. That's just a little pile of sand. That's fun. And that looks like a sponge in the yard. Actually, I like the little pile of sand, but again, it's not quite what I'm wanting here. How about we try a wooden sandbox? Yeah, but regional prompting is like in painting on steroids, right? I really want to get into that. And definitely, I think with the characters, especially, I can see like a lot of good uses for that. So I'll check that out. Thank you again, Activated Dynamics. And yes, for automatic, awesome. See, that's a box in the yard, but it's not really a sandbox. Or it's just a pile of sand. Okay, you know what? We're going to keep this one. And then we're going to select the inside of it. It can just be kind of rough here. That's fine. And then we'll put the inside of a sandbox. And see if we can get the sandbox to generate within the box that we put in the yard here. I'm just really looking out for the youngest special kid, Abby, man. I want to give her a place to play. That's not sand. That's sand. That's perfect. Perfecto. Now, something I would normally do here, and I'll just, this might not be in the final version, but something I would normally do here too is I would come in and I would add an adjustment layer for curves and just kind of give it a basic S curve to kind of max it out and up the contrast a little bit. Now, I don't know if I'm going to be doing that in Photoshop or if I'm going to be doing that in the final comp, animation comp in After Effects, but you know, I'll adjust things like curves, levels, exposure to really get it nice. So a lot of times I'll throw a gradient mask over top of it via multiply, and multiply it to where it gives a nice sort of vignette around the image. But again, those are final steps. So here we go. House, sandbox, pretty good sandbox. I could probably clean this up a little bit here. But if you guys select it, we'll do it. We're not going to do it right now, though. All right, so let's see here. All right, so now, so I think we've got, oh, I just hit generate again because I'm a dummy. So we have two options for the houses now. What is next? Let me find my document here. All right, next up is Everly Heights High School. Now, I did select a couple of different high schools from where I'm from. Here, let's see here. Okay, and picks to work from. We'll start with my high school, Wheeling Park High School in Wheeling, West Virginia. This is where I spent, you know, 240 days, from ages 14 to 18, getting into trouble, trying to figure out who I was. It also has, I'm interested to see how this works with this statue in front here, just because this statue, you can barely tell what it is in the photo, right? So let's see here. We're going to go ahead and turn off our upscale for now. And turn off our Ultimate SD upscale, because we don't need to upscale every option we're generating here. All right, so let's see here. Come back here, and we'll throw in our high school here, our high school pick, my high school pick. Generate the depth map to make sure it looks good. Yeah, that looks okay. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to add a second control net with the same image. And then I'm also going to do, let's do line art, because I'll show you what the line art processor looks like here in a second. All right, did it go? Is it going? Okay, there we go. Yeah, and it kind of gives a rough but noisy outline of it. That shadow's a bit problematic. We might run into issues with that. But a lot of times when I run two control nuts on top of each other like this, I like to turn down the ending control step to give Stable Diffusion a little more time to make it all cohesive. Because basically the starting control step, it means the input I have here, I want you to start working on that. If it was 0.3, 30% in to your generation. And if you, the ending control step is the opposite. I want you to stop paying attention to this about 70% in. And that'll give Stable Diffusion a chance to sort of smooth out the edges, get rid of any crap, and hopefully do it well for you. I'm actually, just because this is so noisy, I'm going to turn down the control weight a little too. This is sort of like the denoising strength in that it signifies like how strong the control net is going to affect your final image. So, okay, I think we have all that set up here. We're going to take out our prompt here and just give it a quick test to make sure it works. So here we go. Hopefully nothing crashes. Oh, wow, we've been going an hour already. Nice. Here we go. Yeah, previews are not working very well today. Normally it kind of gives you an idea of the image as it's loading up. Oh, that's nice. Like, it did forget what the statue was, but yeah, that's not bad. You know what? We're going to turn up the denoising strength a little bit just to see if we can get it to change a little bit more. So let's try that. trivia, that logo you see on the front of the Wheeling Park High School there, my friend Mark Lawson, who was sort of like my mentor in the computing program at Wheeling Park High School, designed that. I believe in MS Paint. Ooh, and yeah, this is looking really nice. I like this, actually. That statue leaves a little bit to be desired, but we can fix that here. Okay, you know what? I think this one's golden, so why don't we go ahead and we'll send this to image. Wait for it to pop in over there. Okay, there it is. And then we're going to do upscale with this too. We'll go ahead and turn off our control nets, or this control net. And depth. Okay, I guess we'll need one final control net for tile so we can upscale it. Did that click? And then we'll turn on our Ultimate SD upscale again. All our settings should still be in there. Hold on, it's catching up. There we go. Yeah, 4x Ultra 2.4. Good. All right. So, and let's do a prompt in here too. High School Plaza. All right, there we go. I'm just checking out to see how my CPU and my RAMs, everything's doing. All right, so let's go ahead and click generate. See how the upscale turns out. And then we'll take it over into Photoshop like we did before. Taking a second to kick in. Activated Dynamics, by the way, if you're still watching, nice to see you over there in the chat room. How did you find the channel? I'm always curious as to, you know, where all these views are coming from. So let me know. 11 minutes and 38 seconds. That can't be right. I didn't do anything weird here, right? Yeah, I didn't do anything weird. I should probably come up with like topics to talk about while we're waiting on generations. You know what? Versus waiting for this. And this might kill my computer or the stream. Let me go ahead and try and skip these and cancel them. I'm going to show you real quick another option for upscaling in Photoshop. So we'll just go ahead and bring this in as it is. And then if we go to neural filters here, neural filters, they have what's called down here super zoom. And what this is basically upscaling the image, taking the image and upscaling it about 1, 2, 3, 4 times, just like we did in Stable Diffusion. We're going to go with 2 times here, and we'll remove JPEG artifacts, and then we'll reduce the noise, and we'll sharpen it. We don't have any faces in it, so we don't need to enhance face details. And then we'll generate the final image to a new layer. That looks like crap, doesn't it? I thought the other one looked way better, so maybe we should do this upscale. Is this the upscale? Let's see here. Here's the upscale. Okay, there we go. That's a much better upscale. So why don't we go ahead here first, and we'll chop out this sign here and hopefully just get it to generate some red brick back there. Yeah, all those are about the same. So we're just going to go ahead and merge that in here. I also forgot to save this. So let me go ahead and save this before I forget. Because we're doing Everly Heights High School, option 1. Option 1 here. Okay. So I guess first we should add the name of the high school back here, huh? Just like it was on the original. All right. And I don't like this font for that because, well, it's not very academic, is it? Let's see if I have something here that'll work. Looking through my fonts. My high school newspaper used this font all the time. I hated it. I was like, that's such bad. Let's not use Captain Marvel. I don't mind this one, actually. Let's go ahead and try this one. Center it. And let's make these like a dull, trying to make it stand out a little bit without standing out too much, you know? Everly Heights High School. There we go. Bring this down here. And again, this is just going to be roughed out. I'm going to have all the separate layers so I can, you know, adjust it later. If you guys like this one, give it a little drop shadow, way too far away. Way too spread out. We want this sort of like brisk, right? There we go. And just to finish it off, you know what? I don't think the Everly Heights team has a mascot necessarily. So how about we just put this here, and then we're going to put like a sign with a picture of an eagle mascot. Because the mascot at my high school, Wheeling Park High School, was an eagle. So let's see how this happens, or how this works. Oh, very nice. Activated Dynamics says they were recommended my video while they were looking for videos on ControlNet. So nice to have you. Glad to have you aboard. Let's see here. These are all a little crappy. Just a little bit. But that's probably the closest for now. Generally, if I was finishing this off, what I would do is I would take this whole thing back into Stable Diffusion and rerun it through image to image with like a 0.1, like a 0.1 or a 0.05 denoising setting to just kind of layer the style back on. For now, we're just going to stick with this though, just because it's time to move on, and you guys are watching, so I want to make sure to get through a lot of stuff here. All right, so we have a second option for the high school. Let me go ahead and pull that up. This was a local Catholic high school in Wheeling, West Virginia called Central High School. Central Catholic High School. You see it right there on the front, and there's a car out front here, which kind of makes the world feel more lived in. So maybe we'll go ahead and go with that. So let's go ahead and make sure our tile's off, so we don't have to wait 20 minutes. Go ahead and select Central and Central. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the line art for now. Oh, I already did. Good. Just because I don't want to... sometimes it's needed, sometimes it's not. I think this is a pretty clear image, so it might not be. All right, let's go ahead and turn this up a little bit. Yeah, I'll go ahead and rerun the depth down here too. Not a lot of depth to that image. Actually, you know what? Maybe for this one, let's go with Canny just to show you what the Canny preprocessor looks like. Because Canny is another one that just sort of like creates like a rough sketch of the image to work from. See, it just has a nice rough sketch there of the basic lines and everything. All right, so let's go ahead and do one generation of that. A high school with a car parked out front. All right, let's generate it. Gonna cough real quick. And I did turn off upscale, right? I hope so. I didn't. No. All right, hold on. We can interrupt and skip. Give it a second. Still waiting. I keep forgetting to uncheck the upscale thing. It's killing me. Killing me. Killing me. Also, how long have I been going now? I've been going about an hour, haven't I? Oh, wow, an hour and 16 minutes. I'm about due for a break. After we get through this one, we'll take a little break here. Just a quick one. If I can get this to load. Because I decided to be dumb and leave the upscale on. Something I love about technology is when it makes me feel dumb, because I've been using computers for so long that I very rarely feel dumb using them or like I've made a mistake. And Stable Diffusion AUTOMATIC1111 everything constantly makes me feel like I'm doing something dumb. Okay, but here we go. Yeah, that's not bad. You see, it messes up the text there a little bit, but we can fix that. We'll also probably remove those crosses. I like that. Let's go ahead and change it a lot just to see what happens. And you know what? This shot will be at night because it's for the dance. So let's go ahead and just add nighttime to it. Nighttime. Nighttime is the right time. Sometimes. But not always. All right, here we go. It's loading. Yeah, if you want to use this stuff, I do recommend keeping your console window open because sometimes it might seem like it's frozen up because the UI freezes up, but it's still working in the background. You can see that progressing there. Well, I just realized I do have chat available to show. Oh, I guess it's not working right now. Good. So don't worry about that. It has been a second since I did any live streaming, so everything's kind of weird. Let's get it loaded in here. Loading in. Bop. Yeah, and that's not bad. It didn't really respect the nighttime thing, but I think we're going to go with it just out of the sake of expediency. So let's go ahead and create a new one here. I did forget to upscale it, actually. So give me 1 second to, you know what? I'll show you how to upscale it in Photoshop. Give me 1 second. Did I show you that already? If not, I'm going to show you again. All right, so let's take it here. Neural filters, super zoom. Just take it up by 2, then hit OK. It'll pop it into a new layer here. Oh, did it? It popped it into a new layer, but it didn't increase the size of the canvas. So give me 1 second here. Percentage. 200. 200. Boom. Perfect. All right, now this isn't bad. I'm going to go ahead and see if we can get some of the colors to pop back out with this. All right, now why don't we go ahead and we'll take this Everly Heights High School text we have over here. And just for the sake of expediency, we'll drag and drop it onto this layer here. Go ahead and close that. Everly Heights High School. Just kind of cattywampus it. Line it up a little bit. roughly there. Let's go ahead and change the color to sort of like a darker gray silver, like on the background there. And then I guess we need to clear up that background too. So give me a second here. Get this stuff off of here. I actually will probably remove those crosses too, because this is a public high school, not a religious high school. And this guy. And sometimes in Photoshop, you don't need to go all the way into, you know, the generative fill. You can just use, and this is a tool that's been around in Photoshop for years, content aware fill, which will just basically look at the pixels around it and do its best to match it up. So let's give that a shot here. For this use case, it should work. Yeah, and see, it mostly works here. So Everly Heights High School. Let's go ahead and make this a smart object. And then we'll just up the brightness a little bit. Everly Heights High School. That's looking good. And so we'll go ahead and collapse all these down into a smart object so we can work with it all together. Give it our auto, auto, auto. And just for fun, we'll throw a little cooling filter on top of it here, just a little bit. Because, you know, most exteriors are going to be early morning or late evening. So, you know, a little blue tint isn't bad. Anything else I want to fix here? You know, just to show you, schools usually have an American flag on a flagpole, right? An American flag on a flagpole. Let's see what Photoshop gives us. It might not be great. You know, the generative fill's kind of hit and miss, but no, actually, the first one's not bad. We're gonna re-roll. That's a lot of times that's how I call, you know, let's just generate again. Let's re-roll. And if anything, I think that one's crappier. So's that one. So's that one. All right, we're going to stick with this one. No, I don't like that curve there. Let's re-roll one more time. Hold on, my wife just texted me LOL. I don't know why. Okay. She was responding to a text I sent her. There we go. There we go. That's a good one. All right, so we're going to go ahead and save this guy out. Everly Heights High School. Option 2. Oh, wait. No, I don't want to replace that. Option 2. There we go. All right, so you know, as you hear, I'm coughing. I'm like, I need to get a drink in me, maybe go take a lozenge. So we're going to take a quick break here and then come back to do the Everly Heights Community Center. Thank you so much for watching live as you're watching. And again, we're going to post all these options over at everlyheights.tv into the Discord. The link you'll find to the Discord there for you guys to vote on, you know, pretty soon after I wrap up this stream. But we're going to play a quick word from our sponsors and a little segment I recorded for the channel, and then we'll be right back. Where's the button? We're going to get back to talking about the tools of the trade here in just a minute. But first, we need to talk about our other sponsor, Stream Studio. Yes, this video is brought to you by Stream Studio, a service which lets YouTubers and streamers like me take control of their live stream. Just like I'm taking control of graphics with Stable Diffusion. You can switch between cameras, add graphics in lower thirds, and stream out to YouTube, Twitch, and other services all at the same time. We want to thank Stream Studio for sponsoring Building Dreams and allowing you to build your own streaming dreams with Stream Studio. Try it out today by going to streamstudio.everlyheights.tv. That's STREANN Studio. And again, I want to thank Stream Studio for helping me build my dreams.
Like zoinks! Do you want to generate awesome Stable Diffusion background art in the style of classic Hanna-Barbera cartoons? Well, I built a model trained on over 800 Scooby-Doo backgrounds, and I'm giving it to you, my fellow dreamers, today on Building Dreams.
This tutorial is brought to you by Stream Studio and also by RunPod. Go to runpod.everlyheights.tv to spin up a Stable Diffusion server in just a couple of minutes.
Zoinks! Hey dreamers, it's Bill Meeks here for Building Dreams, where I help you use the latest AI technology to build dreams of your own, just like I'm using them to build the first animated series in my Everly Heights universe, a sitcom called Very Special. Also, I'm totally wearing a wig. As research for the AI set design video I did a few weeks back, I built a model based on backgrounds from one of my favorite Instagram accounts, Scoobyscapes. It taught me a lot, but now it's just laying around on my hard drive. So I figured, why not offer it to you guys as a free tool so you can create your own backgrounds using the model? So I'd like to present my Mystery Inc. backgrounds, Laura and Checkpoint, which you can download at everlyheights.tv/tools. Now, as you can see, it does a really good job at replicating those classic Hanna-Barbera backgrounds. This is a spooky house. You could totally see any of these in the background of like Scooby-Doo or Wacky Races or any of those other great Hanna-Barbera shows. No Don Knotts generated though. That's the next model. This model generates wonderfully rich watercolor scenic backgrounds that evoke the spirit of hit cartoons like Scooby-Doo and other Hanna-Barbera classics. Wonderful watercolors that demand attention, even when something more interesting is going on in the foreground, like zoinks. To use it, just download the Laura to your Stable Diffusion Web UI Models Laura folder, or download the Checkpoint to your Models folder. Prompting plays an important role too. I find that emotional words like moody, spooky, happy, haunted, bright can really make the images pop, so play around. And that's my new Mystery Inc. backgrounds model for Stable Diffusion. I hope you have as much fun playing with it as I did. To download it, just go to everlyheights.tv/tools, and you'll find the links to the model on the online model warehouse, civitai.com. And if you'd like me to make more nostalgic models like this one, throw me a tip on the page to support my original animated series, Everly Heights. Otherwise, it's pay what you want, even free. Thanks for joining me today, and I can't wait to share more about Everly Heights and how I'm using the latest AI technology to bring my creative dreams to life. See you next time, Scoob! Zoinks, 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 zoinks!
Read the stories and join the team at everlyheights.tv. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Everly Heights. Watch us build Everly Heights in Building Dreams by subscribing to @BillMeeksLA on YouTube. And why don't you like this video while you're at it to help people find our stuff? To contact us about partnership opportunities, or if you have questions about joining the team, send an email to billmeeks@everlyheights.tv.
Zoinks! I'm ready for some Scooby snacks.
Speaking of overworking your graphics card, you don't have to do that to take advantage of Stable Diffusion and all these cool plugins I'm showing you today. And that's all thanks to our sponsor at runpod.io. So what if you think this stuff looks interesting, but you don't own a high-end graphics card like I do? With RunPod, you can start your own server to run Stable Diffusion on somebody else's computer, starting at just 20 cents per hour. RunPod has some beefy servers at their disposal, which means I'm going to be able to train and fine-tune my custom models in half the time it would take me on this machine that I'm recording this on right now. I want to personally thank RunPod for sponsoring Building Dreams and helping me bring my own dreams to life. Start building your dreams with RunPod by going to runpod.everlyheights.tv so they know we sent you their way. Now again, as far as stream... And we're back. Sorry for that errant audio there at the back of that ad, but thank you so much to our sponsors, RunPod and Stream Studio. And also, I hope if you like Scooby-Doo, feel free to check out my Scooby-Doo backgrounds model that I just released over on Civit AI and at everlyheights.tv. All right, so I already have loaded up here. We're doing the Everly Heights Community Center. And this is where the Arts Council meets, which the Arts Council in Everly Heights, it's a community that's very much controlled economically, socially, etc., by the arts, specifically theater, which is where one of the main characters is very special works. Michael Special, he's the director of the theater. But there is an Arts Council meeting about midway through the script, and so we're doing sort of like the establishing shot for the community building where they hold those meetings. So I pulled a couple images from Wheeling, West Virginia, where I'm from, that Everly Heights is based on. Here, this one is West Virginia Independence Hall. Now, this is, I believe it was actually where the state legislature did all their business back in the 1800s. It's this little building downtown Wheeling across from West Virginia Northern Community College. And a lot of history there, a lot of government stuff that goes in there. So we're going to try this one first. All right, so let's see here. Let's make sure my upscaling's off. My tile control net is not on. Good. Good. Okay, I think we're ready to go. Oh, and for control net this time, I'm going to try using a normal map, which you'll see here. It just kind of gives the general shape of things with a little bit of depth information, like the darker it is, the closer it is, I believe. And then we're going to go ahead and stick with Canny again. Or line art. Let's go ahead and do let's do Canny. Why not? I'm not always a huge fan of Canny, but it does have its place. Go ahead and run the preprocessor on that so we can see what we're dealing with here. Give it a minute. There we go. And like you'll see, it has a bunch of like random like lines where there probably shouldn't be lines and stuff, but hopefully this will give us something that's pretty close to our original image. So let's go ahead and hold on one second here. 768 by 512. Okay, I was just making sure that was the right dimensions. All right, so let's go ahead, make sure we only have one selected, and click generate. I didn't even check the denoising strength. It's pretty high. Oop, and you know what? On this, I just did a new install of Stable Diffusion, and I don't think I've run Canny yet. So it's going to take a second to download the model. Man, my voice is rough today, huh? Sorry about that. It's loading. It's loading. I see it over here. It's going. See? Slowly but surely, 20. Yeah, I don't know if it's because I'm doing the live streaming and recording or what, but this is lagging sometimes where it normally doesn't. It's probably because my computer's maxed out. I would imagine. I don't see any settings here that are weird. So we wait. If you're still watching in the chat room, go ahead and say hi, just so I know I haven't got kicked offline. Waiting for the render to happen. Ooh, I can already tell I'm liking that. It's a little blurry still, but I like it. And you know what, just for the sake of expediency, I'm not going to touch these ones up in Photoshop because these are very like far away, sort of establishing shots, not a whole lot of detail in them. So for these last two, we'll go ahead and skip the Photoshop bit. Actually, I love that. The sky is a little gray. It could be a little less gray, but we can fix that in editing. So let's go ahead and upscale it again. So we'll go ahead and turn off these two control nets. Control net off, because we won't need those anymore. And then we'll come here to the third one, enable it. And it's already enabled for tile there. So now we'll just come back in and turn on our Ultimate SD upscale. And all the settings are the same as before. And we'll click generate. Oh, activated dynamics. I believe I have an NVIDIA 3060 Ti. I can't remember off the top of my head. It's not great, but it's better than my old one. I think I used to have like a 1080 or something. But it is something I've thought about upgrading, especially with these live streams. But you know, in the future, like I'll probably do a balance of where RunPod is one of my sponsors, so I should probably be running on one of their virtual servers right now. But I'm really just all about trying to make sure my streaming setup is okay. So I didn't want to add another layer of complication. I'm doing another one of these tomorrow for interior sets. So maybe we'll try it on RunPod then, and it might move a little quicker. Yeah, and you'll see here it's generating the tile right now. Again, it says it's going to take 5 minutes. It's not going to take 5 minutes. It's going to take far less than that. Hopefully. And you know what? I didn't really... Yeah, it's pretty high denoising. I left it on pretty high denoising, which might be why it's taking a while, because, you know, it's... the denoising strength when you're doing the upscaling like this, it adds detail. And if you have it really high, it's going to add a lot of detail, right? So that's probably why it's taking so long. I could cancel it, but I'm afraid it's going to crap out again. And I just got to get through it. There's one more left. But yeah, if you're over in the chat room, or if you're watching this later, let me know if you like this sort of like diving in and looking over my shoulder as I'm working on this stuff, because I enjoy doing it. I don't know how entertaining it is to watch, but I think especially if you're into this stuff, or you want to get into this stuff, it should be pretty interesting and educational to watch people like dig in and do it. All mess ups, all errors, they're front and center. A lot of YouTubers I like, they do the edited versions of their process. And I was like, you know what? I should really like sort of dig in and kind of show people the details of the process and what you do when it doesn't go well, right? See, it's still going through and adding a bunch of detail here. I have no, it's 2.4. I'm not sure why it's taking so long now, after it wasn't taking that long before, but we'll just deal with it, right? Because we only got one left, and then we'll have a nice set. Like I said, when we're done with this today, I'm going to post over in our Discord, you know, links to all of the images I generated, and give you the ability to vote on them. And whichever set wins, that'll be the actual establishing shots I'll use in my very special cartoon coming up. So, man, this is taking forever. What was that from? Was that from Sandlot? I think that's a 90s movie. That's right on brand for Everly Heights, since it's all sort of built around 90s nostalgia anyway. Yeah, and straight up, whenever this one pops out of the renderer, we're just going to save it and move on. I will say, though, since we're stalled here, waiting for the render to finish up, part of my intention in showing you my workflow like this is to show that it's not just type in a prompt and you're done and you have exactly what you want. There's a lot of creative decisions you have to make when you're dealing with generative AI art. And I don't think people realize that as much. It's not just a magic image machine. It can be. But if you have an artistic mind or an artistic heart and you really have a specific idea of what you want, there's a lot of options there. There's a lot of control, not to just say control because control net, but there's a lot of control that you have over the images. And then when you pair them with other professional tools like Photoshop or, I guess Illustrator if you were doing vector artwork, or whatever you use to edit graphics with, you can really get something really specific and exactly like you want. And that's kind of the intention of doing these live streams where I'm working on stuff in front of you to kind of just show you how much work goes into hitting generate on the magic image box, right? And it's slowly but surely coming along. 56 seconds, it says. I wonder why this one took so long when the other ones didn't. I wonder if it's because it's an image from like the 1800s. Because this is, I believe when you walk into, I think it's West Virginia Independence Hall, right when you walk in, there's a copy of this painting of the building hanging right up on the wall. It's like an old historic painting, but when I searched for the name of the building on Google Images, it's the first one that popped up. So I was like, yeah, let's go with that one. We're almost done here, folks. Oh, Activated Dynamic over in the chat room says, yeah, I'm trying to learn this stuff. Watching stuff like this is very informative. Thank you very much, Activated Dynamics. That's great to hear, because that's kind of my intention here. Because my career has, for years, has been both as a creator and as somebody who helps people create. Like I spent a lot of years working at Hearst Television, helping the news producers make graphics and animations and stuff for the newscast and for specialty programming. So, oh, here we go. See, that's looking pretty good. And you can definitely see my Everly Heights set generator model here because of that the creamy but not too creamy nature. So I like this one. So we'll go ahead and save this one out. We're not going to take it to Photoshop, folks. Sorry. This is the special house, work folders. And this is the community building. And this is option 1. Option 1. And then we'll go ahead. Oh, did I? I hope I clicked generate again. No! It's okay. Hopefully it'll. Sometimes the cancel button works. Sometimes it does not. You know what I'm going to do? Did it work? No, it's still going. Interrupt, skip, interrupt, skip, interrupt, skip. There. Perfect. It canceled out. Okay, so let's go ahead and load up the other one in here. And this is a building called the Scottish Rite in Wheeling. If it'll load. Yep, there it is. This one, it was sort of like a lodge, a fraternal order of Scottish Rite people or whatever. I always really liked the building. I remember when I was 17 years old, I worked for a catering company called Cecine's in South Wheeling. And this was a place we went about once a month because they would have these big banquets and we'd come in and cater it. And I just loved the inside of it. And it was so ornate and Victorian and fun. But you'll see a lot of Victorian influence in the architecture in Wheeling, West Virginia. All right, so let's see here. Let's turn off our upscaling for now. So we're not waiting 20 minutes again. And let's see, that control net's off. This one needs Scottish Rite. And we'll just go with the same set of control net models we used before, which actually we'll go back to depth for this one. Select the right image. Scottish Rite. Depth. And just for fun, we've been using the depth Midas, which is the default one it selects. We'll go with a depth Lorez this time for our preprocessor, and then see how that looks. It's a slight difference. I'm not sure what the actual scientific difference is, but I do find that depth Lorez generally gives me a depth map that I like more than the other ones. Don't worry, it's at 20 of 9.4 seconds. It'll be done any second. Waiting. Yeah, I think based on how it's gone today, tomorrow I'm definitely going to be using RunPod for my generations. I was a little like, I'm trying to get the live stream going, so I don't want to have to deal with like putting my models up there and testing everything, making sure it works. Tomorrow, RunPod all the way. Plus tomorrow my kids are going to be here, so I don't necessarily want to have to deal with a lot of crap while the kids are here. It did not generate that depth map. I wonder why. Okay, there we go. There's our depth map. All right, so we have depth and canny and nothing. Perfect. All right, so let's go ahead and, you know what? Since it doesn't take much longer to generate 4 options versus 1, we're going to generate 4 again, just to see what it looks like. All right. Yeah, but once it loads up all of the control net stuff into memory, it should spit all of them out relatively quickly. Relatively being the key term. Okay, here we go. Yeah, it's kind of interesting doing this live in front of people. I've never done generations like this live before. 31 minutes, that can't be right. Come on now. 18 minutes, that's better. Yeah, it does seem to be taking a long time today for some reason. But it's going down pretty quickly. Yeah, if anyone out there happens to have any suggestions as to why it might be going so slowly, definitely feel free to let me know in the chat or in the comments. I've actually, this has never happened to me before. Generally, they all go about the same length. It could be the streaming, it could be the recording, it could be some setting that I hit here and forgot about. Yeah, it's saying like 8 minutes. I don't get it. Oh, here we go. Now that it's starting to load in, it might be a little better. It might speed up a little bit. Because if it's loading in an image, that means that it's generating them and they're cohesive. We'll give it well, it's gone down from 15 minutes to 6 minutes, which is good. Still waiting. It might be taking a little longer too because I chose to generate 4 options because I'm a dummy. Questions from the chat room. Actually, I'll question to the chat room as we're sitting here waiting. What is your favorite 90s sitcom? Because, well, Very Special is sort of a family ties pastiche. It's set in the 90s and it focuses more on the 90s sort of TGIF era sitcom tropes. So what is your favorite 90s sitcom? If you pop it in there, if you're still watching, because I'm running into technical issues, I'll take a look at it and I'll let you know what I thought about that sitcom. One that probably my favorite sitcom, this was, I believe, started in the 80s but bridged into the 90s, was Perfect Strangers. I loved Perfect Strangers. I think it was just it kind of took the torch that I Love Lucy lit and carried it forward. The physical comedy bits they did on that show were just out of this world. Like all of the physical comedy set pieces. And it was nice too, because not only was it Balky and Larry who got to participate in them, but you know, as the show grew, and I believe Jennifer and Nicole, I believe, were their girlfriends / wives, they got in on it too. And they would have these, there was one where they were locked in a freezer, I remember loving. And of course, you can't beat the Dance of Joy, right? The day, 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 day. Hey, hey, hey. Now we do the Dance of Joy. I didn't do the physical part of it. But it's interesting though, because back in the 80s and 90s, Perfect Strangers felt very inclusive. But I wonder if it would look differently through a modern lens, like especially considering, you know, Meepos, where Balky's from, is a made-up country. And Bronson Pinchot was sort of putting on a major, heavily European caricature or sort of affectation. I don't know if it would play well today. Oh, Deborah Kerr over in the chat room says Drew Carey Show. Drew Carey Show, one of the all-time greats. The only thing that sucks is that you can only watch it on I think Laugh TV and a few other outlets. You can't really get DVDs of it because that show was so based around music that the music rights are abhorrent to try and do a proper DVD release. And unlike other shows where they could, you know, just swap out a track, Drew Carey, a lot of the times, if there was music in the show, the plot was based around it. So it's really hard to cut out. That being said, they just had so many fun, innovative episodes. I think about the Sims episode where they did an entire episode where their office they worked in was set in The Sims. I still remember the Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, Rocky Horror Picture Show mashup where it was Time Warp and, oh God, I can't... There's just a lot to dance with, you keep dancing. That song. They do this great mashup. I believe it's on YouTube. You should go check it out. Speaking of Drew Carey, I was on Let's Make a Deal out here in Los Angeles about a year and a half ago. I'm pretty sure the time limit is up because they're both produced by Goodson Television Productions. I'm pretty sure I'm allowed to go on The Price is Right now. I should definitely try and do that this summer. I had a lot of fun going on Let's Make a Deal with Wayne Brady. If you go over to my website, billmeeks.com, you should be able to find it over there. Yeah, and Activated Dynamics says Family Matters or the Dinosaur Show from Jim Henson. Yeah, that's definitely in fact, I would consider that very close to my sitcom I'm producing, Very Special, in that Dinosaurs was almost a parody of a sitcom or a satire, a pastiche. Basically, it built itself on all of the sitcom tropes. Oh, okay, we got 4 options here. So let's see here. This guy up in the upper right corner, he's fun. This is a little obscure. This is a little blurry. This one's okay. This one, though. This one, third one, bottom lower left, is the new hotness. I mean, with some in painting, this gargoyle thing up here could really, or angel, could really get fleshed out. And yeah, I just love it. So let's see here. Let's find that one. Yep, that's the one right there. That's the one we're going with. I want to upscale this, so I'm going to send it to image. Okay, it's in image to image, and I'm going to upscale it after we get done here today, just because if if it craps out again, we're going to be here all day. Let me go ahead and pull this up here. Yeah, so thank you so much for joining me. Deborah Kerr over in the chat room says, yep, I love the shows they did where you had to spot all of the bloopers. Oh, Drew Carey's show. Yeah, that actually, Drew Carey, every year for April Fools, they would do like a bloopers episode. And if you wrote in and spotted all the bloopers, you won something. I'm pretty sure Drew Carey, hold on one sec. I'm pretty sure Drew Carey ripped that off of Superman comics back in the day. In Silver Age, they, oh gosh, I can't remember the name of the story, but they basically did that like it was the night of March 31st, I think, which there is no March 31st because the next day is April 1st. And they had a bunch of bloopers and errors and all of the panels. And then if you spotted them all and wrote in, you got like, I don't know, a letter from Superman or something. All right, so thank you guys again for joining me today. I do have to go pick up my kids, but we have a lot of great options here. I'm going to, probably after I go get my kids, so in a couple hours here, I'll be posting them over on the Discord, over on the Everly Heights Discord, which you can find a link to over at everlyheights.tv. And I think I might have even put it in the video description here. So go over there, join, introduce yourself, wait a couple hours, and you'll be able to vote on these and help me pick the main exterior shots for our first TV pilot, very special. So again, you can check out everything we're doing at everlyheights.tv. We're doing another live stream like this tomorrow to generate some interiors of the Specials house. So that'll be a lot of fun. Yeah, I guess that's about it then. So, thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow and see you next time.
Read the team at everlyheights.tv. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Everly Heights. Watch us build Everly Heights in Building Dreams by subscribing to @BillMeeksLA on YouTube. And why don't you like this video while you're at it to help people find our stuff? To contact us about partnership opportunities, or if you have questions about joining the team, send an email to billmeeks@everlyheights.tv.